showing you all of the books that I read in 2022. I want to start by saying, unfortunately, I misplaced my copy of The Jinko by Min Jin Lee. And I'm sad because I really wanted to show you that one to you guys because it was my favorite book that I read this year, last year. And it's not even fantasy. And so, if it was my favorite and it's not fantasy, it must have been really good because I love fantasy. So, let's get started. This book is called East of Eden. It's a winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, and it's written by John Steinbeck. In his journal, Steinbeck called East of Eden the first book. I had to tape the back, so it's kind of difficult to read this. I might mess it up. And indeed, it has the primordial power and simplicity of myth. Set in the rich farmland of California's Salinas Valley, this sprawling and often brutal novel follows the intertwined destinies of two families, the Trasks and the Hamiltons, whose generations helplessly reenact the fall of Adam and Eve and the poisonous rivalry of Cain and Abel. Here is a work in which Steinbeck created his most mesmerizing characters and explored his most enduring themes: the mystery of identity, the inexplicability of love, and the murderous consequences of love's absence. This book was very, very good in the beginning and got a little slow in the middle. And I just would say the first half of the book was better than the second half. I'm glad I read it. That was given to me by my friend James. This book is Red Seas Under Red Skies by Scott Lynch. The main character is a man called Locke Lamora, and this is the second book in the series. The first book is called The Lies of Locke Lamora, and that is one of the best books I have ever read. It is so good. If you like fantasy, it's not really, it's fantasy, but it's so good. It's so good. Okay. In his highly acclaimed debut, Scott Lynch took us on an adrenaline-fueled adventure with a band of daring thieves led by con artist extraordinaire Locke Lamora. Now Locke returns with a caper of death-defying. Nothing short of a miracle will pull it off. With a caper so death-defying, nothing short of a miracle will pull it off. After a brutal battle with the underworld, Locke and his sidekick, Jean, fled to the exotic shores of Talvarar to nurse their wounds. But they are soon back to what they do best, stealing from the rich and pocketing the proceeds. Now, however, they have targeted the grandest prize of all, the Sinspire, the world's most exclusive, most heavily guarded gambling house. But there is one cardinal rule. It is death to cheat at any game. Brazenly undeterred, Locke and Jean have orchestrated an elaborate plan to lie, trick, and swindle their way straight to the Sinspire's teeming vault. But someone knows the duo's secret and has every intention of making them pay for their sins. The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. Okay, there are three things all wise men fear: the sea and storm, a night with no moon, and the anger of a gentle man. My name is quote, you may have heard of me. So begins the tale of a hero told from his own point of view, a story unequaled in fantasy literature. Now in The Wise Man's Fear, Day 2 of the Kingkiller Chronicle, takes his first steps on the path of the hero and learns how difficult life can be when a man becomes a legend in his own time. Yeah, so this is the second book in the series. The author hasn't come out with a third book yet for the series, but I think he is taking his time to make it perfect. This, in my opinion, this book was better than the first book. The first book was really good. This one was so good. I loved this one. I read this one pretty quickly, and I mean, it's a thickum. This is fantasy. Most of these books are fantasy, and then I have some Western ones. I don't like to only read fantasy. You kind of need to break up the genres sometimes. That's what I like to do. Okay. Oh, here's the first one. I forgot. I read both of these in 2022. So this is the first book. It goes with this one. It's called The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. My name is I have stolen princesses back from sleeping Baro kings. I burned down the town of Triban. I have spent the night with Valurian and left with both my sanity and my life. I was expelled from the university at a younger age than most people are allowed in. I tread paths by moonlight that others fear to speak of during day. I have talked to gods, loved women, and written songs that make the minstrels weep. You may have heard of me. So begins a tale unequaled in fantasy literature. The story of a hero told in his own voice. It is a tale of sorrow, a tale of survival, a tale of one man's search for meaning in his universe, and how that search and the indomitable will that drove it gave birth to a legend. Hobb is my favorite author. I'm obsessed. This is the second book in this series, The Rain Wild Chronicles. It's about dragons. And she's phenomenal. If you like fantasy, check her out. I read the first book in the series in 2021, so we'll start with the second one. It's called Dragon Haven. See, what was the first one called? City of Dragons, right? No, that's the third. Dragon Keeper. Dragon Keeper was the first one. 15 dragons have set off on a dangerous trek up the Rain Wild River in hopes of rediscovering their lost haven, the ancient city of Kelsingra. Accompanying them is a desperate group of rejects from Rain Wild society, including strong and defiant young Timera, wealthy dragon scholar and trader's wife Alice, and her companion, the urbane Cedric. These human keepers yearn also to create a new home where they can decide their own fate. but in Kelsingra, real or merely a fragment of a glorified past buried deep in the dragon's shared memories? As they forge ever deeper into uncharted wilderness, starvation, flash floods, and predators impale them all. But as dragons and humans alike soon learn, the most savage threats come from within their own company. It's full of murder and intrigue. Okay, that was the second book. Book 3. City of Dragons. The secret is out. The Tarman expedition has at last found Kelsingra, a city filled with ancient treasures. Rumors of the city have floated down the Rainwild River. Adventurers, pirates, and fortune hunters will soon be coming to pillage what they can. Among them, Hest Finnbog, determined to claim back his errant wife Alice. Hest. Meanwhile, Cedric Vestrit finds himself a prisoner of the ailing Duke of Chauced, who believes the dragon man's flesh and blood may cure him. Where is Tintaglia, greatest of dragons, when there is need of her? She holds the memories that will unlock the mysteries of Kelsingra and the power to defend it and dragonkind. Without her, all may be lost. Where are you, Tintaglia? Tintaglia is a dragon from another series by Rob and Hobb, and they're all in the same universe. And sometimes you have stories intertwined. If you read one story in this series and another in this series, you'll find characters in both. It's so good. She's so good. I'm obsessed. Obsessed. And the fourth, Blood of Dragons. Blood of Dragons. Dragons will fly over Kelsingra once more. Attacked by hunters, Tintaglia is dying of her wounds. If she perishes, her ancestral memories will die with her, and the dragons in the ancient city of Kelsingra will lose the secret knowledge they need to survive. The dragon keepers immerse themselves in the dangerously addictive Memory Stone records of the city in hope of recovering the lost elderling magic that once allowed humans and dragons to coexist. But war is coming. War between dragons and those who would destroy them. PLOODRAGONS. So, in between all of these books, I've been reading a lot of Louis L'Amour. My husband has a lot of these books from way back when, so I've been reading them. They're a quick read and easy and fun. So yeah, that's by Louis L'Amour, and this is called The Warrior's Path. Filled with exciting tales of the frontier, the Chronicle of the Sackett family is perhaps the crowning achievement of one of our greatest storytellers. In The Warrior's Path, Louis L'Amour tells the story of Yance and Ken Sackett, two brothers who are the last hope of a young woman who faces a fate worse than death. When Yance Sackett's sister-in-law is kidnapped, he and Ken race north from California to find her. They arrive at a superstitious town rife with rumors, and learn that someone very powerful was behind Diana's disappearance. To bring the culprit to justice, one brother must sail to the exotic West Indies. There, among pirates, cutthroats, and ruthless businessmen, he will apply the skills he learned as a frontiersman to an unfamiliar world, a world where one false move means instant death. So this is set in the year the 1620s. That's when the story is set in time period. So early America type stuff. So the book after that is called Jubal, and I misplaced that as well, which again, I think that was one of my favorite. Okay, so I'll just keep going. I don't think I'm reading these in the right order, but that's okay. This is Sackett by Louis L'Amour. In Sackett, Louis L'Amour introduces readers to a wandering man with a desire to settle down and build a good life. Hard circumstances had made William Tell Sackett a drifter, but now he hungered for a place he couldn't name yet, knew he had to find. South of the Tetons, he came upon a ghost of a trail that led him through a keyhole pass into a lonely, alien, yet beautiful valley, a valley that held a fortune in gold. Then he found an even greater treasure, beautiful Ange Carey, a courageous and resourceful woman, but the harsh ways it takes to preserve his claim in his life could be the one thing that drives Ange away forever. Dun dun dun. Poor William Tell Sackett. This guy couldn't catch a break. He's in a few of the books. The Daybreakers. In The Daybreakers, L'Amour spins the tale of two brothers who couldn't be more different, yet remain bound by their restlessness of spirit. You had to push to start a fight with Orrin Sackett, but not with his brother Tyrell. Ty had been born into trouble, and the night he stepped between his brother and a bullet changed the course of both their lives forever. Now their trail pointed west to Santa Fe, a frontier town on the edge of islands. But justice had to come before putting down roots in a lawless land. Orrin took on the job of marshal, while Ty commanded fear and respect even without a badge. And ultimately, when a loose end from their past turned up, one brother was forced to revert to his old ways if the other's dreams were to be realized. In Lando, Louis L'Amour has created an unforgettable portrait of a unique American hero. For 6 long years, Orlando Sackett survived the horrors of a brutal Mexican prison. He survived by using his skills as a boxer and by making 3 vows. The first was to exact revenge on the hired killers who framed him. The second was to return to his father, and the third was to find Gin Locklear. But the world has changed a lot since Lando left it. His father is missing, the woman he loved is married, and the killers want him dead. Hardened physically and emotionally, Lando must begin an epic journey to resolve his past, even if it costs him his life. I just realized I'm missing another book I just read. Mustang Man. Sackett brand. Just got some Sacketts here. A bunch of Sacketts. In the Sackett brand, Louis L'Amour spins the story of a courageous man who must face overwhelming odds to track down a killer. Tell Sackett and his bride, Ange, come to Arizona to build a home and start a family. But on Black Mesa, something goes terribly wrong. Tell is ambushed and badly injured. When he finally manages to drag himself back to where he left Ange, she is gone. Desperate, cold, hungry, and with no way to defend himself, Tell is stalked like a wounded animal. Hiding from his attackers, his rage and frustration mounting, he tries to figure out who the men are, why they are trying to kill him, and what has happened to his wife. Discovering the truth will be risky, and when he finally does, it will be their turn to run. Watch it. Mojave Crossing by Louis L'Amour. In Mojave Crossing, Louis L'Amour takes William Tell Sackett on a treacherous passage from the Arizona goldfields to the blooming town of Los Angeles. Tell Sackett was no ladies' man, but he could spot trouble easily enough, and Dorinda Rabasau was the kind of trouble he wanted to avoid at any time. Even more so when he had 30 pounds of gold in his saddlebags and a long way to travel. But when she begged him for safe passage to Los Angeles, Sackett reluctantly agreed. Now he's on a perilous journey through the most brutal desert on the continent, traveling with a companion he doesn't trust, and headed for a confrontation with a deadly gunman who also bears the name of Sackett. Sackett or Sackett? Oh my. So this book, after I read Pachinko, the one I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I looked online to find similar books, and this one came up, and the bestseller. I mean, usually if a book is a bestseller, it's a good book, so I went with this one, and it's very good. A Long Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende. Victor Delmo is a young doctor when he is caught up in the Spanish Civil War, an event that leaves his life and the fate of his country forever changed. Together with his sister-in-law, the pianist Rosaire, he is forced out of Barcelona and into exile in Chile, where they find themselves enmeshed in a rich web of characters who come together in love and tragedy over the course of 4 generations, destined to witness the battle between freedom and repression as it plays out across the world. It's a good book. Pablo Neruda is a character in here. I'm not sure if this is a true story. I think it is. I forget. Maybe not. I don't know. But very good book. This is another one of Robin Hobb. Shaman's Crossing. This is the first book in the trilogy. Nevers Bervel is the second son of a second son, destined from birth to carry a sword. The wealthy young noble follows his father, newly made a lord by the king of Jernia, into the cavalry training in the military arts at the elite King's Cavalry Academy in the capital city of Old Thers. Bright and well-educated, an excellent horseman with an advantageous engagement, Nevers has a future that appears golden. But as his academy instruction progresses, Nevers begins to realize that the road before him is far from straight. The old aristocracy looks down on him as the son of a new noble, and unprepared for the political and social maneuvering of the deeply competitive school and city, he finds himself entangled in a web of injustice, discrimination, and foul play. In addition, He is disquieted by his unconventional girl cousin Epony, who challenges his heretofore unwavering worldview, and by the bizarre dreams that haunt his nights. For 20 years, the king's cavalry has pushed across the grasslands, subduing the territory in Journey's name. Subduing and settling its nomads and claiming the territory in Journey's name. Now they have driven as far as the Barrier Mountains, home to the Speck people, a quiet, forest-dwelling folk who retain the last vestiges of magic in a world that is rapidly modernizing. From childhood, Nevere has been taught that the Specks are a primitive people to be pitied for their backward ways and feared for their indigenous diseases, including the deadly Speck Plague, which has ravaged the frontier towns and military outposts. Then dark evening brings the carnival to Old Thayers, and with it, an unknown magic and the first Specks Nevere has ever seen. Tut, 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 tut. No need to say, Rob and Hobb. It was good. It was good. Phenomenal. She's amazing. I love her. This is the second book